You've selected a show from the Podcast Jukebox, a DIY podcast network.
It's Will Shawn Podcast. The internet cried out for 2 more blowhards, and they courageously answered that call. Armed with the weapon of wit, each week they're joined by guests to discuss movies, television, pop culture, and anything else that's pissing them off. Take it away, boys.
I'm Will Link.
And I am Sean David.
And this is Will Shawn Podcast.
Blah. How you doing, Will?
Well, you know, it's Oscar season.
Is it? Already? It's November 2nd?
But that also means it's free award screening season. And the thing is, this should actually be an enemy at some point. I have so many friends who are in all these guilds, and they don't go to any of the screenings, and they don't watch any of their screeners. Meanwhile, me, I go see every fucking movie. Could you imagine if I could see every fucking movie? I found out a friend of ours, mutual friend, he has been sitting on like dozens of screenings and goes, yeah, I just never think to go. And I said, do you want to see these movies? He goes, yeah, but I got no one to go with. And I said, what the fuck is wrong with you? So I bullied him into it. I made him sign up for about 5 screenings in the next month that he's taking me to. So I got to weasel I think it's just a sin that I fight so hard to get into these free screenings. And these fucking people...
Yeah, they're not appreciating the free Ladybird screenings that you want to go to.
You know what? I can't go to the free Ladybird screening.
Oh, that's a lot.
With Greta Gerwig, and I'm upset about that. But
well, Greta Gerwig, your friend from the Foxfire Room.
I am going to the
artist,
the disaster artist.
Yeah.
I, Tonya screening.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. And a screening of The Post, a film that no one has even seen a poster for, let alone an inch of footage.
What is this?
It's the Steven Spielberg movie about the Pentagon Papers starring Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep.
What? That's coming out this year?
Yep.
I've seen 2 Ready Player One trailers. I haven't seen anything about this.
Yep.
How terrible is it?
So what's going on in the world of Will Shawn Podcast?
I don't know. I know I'm not going to see I, Tonya or The Post or The Disaster Artist.
Whose fault's that?
Everything is good. Justin Marks, former guest of the podcast, announced that his new show, whose name I do not have in front of me right now, will be premiering on Stars in January.
So that does a lot of good.
Listen, Stars, January, there'll be a new show. Just fucking keep your eyes open for it. It's a good show. The Florida Project is playing in theaters now. If you have not seen it yet, please go see it.
I got to reach out to Chris. We're definitely going to have Chris Burgok back on. He's the writer and producer.
But he's
of that.
busy now, slinging
he's still
Florida children.
Yeah, he's still on the film festival circuit, but good for him.
Yeah. And beyond that, if you are part of the Podcast Jukebox Network, thank you for listening to our show. Make sure you are following us on, Twitter, like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on iTunes, and leave us a star rating.
And who is our sponsor this week?
Cricket. The globally admired sport that won't rip your heart out.
Well, yeah, we're going to get to that.
Yeah.
I know you and our guest are very upset. I'm not happy, but I'm not...
you don't care.
I don't... yeah.
As long as A-Rod's got his speaking career, what is it? Broadcasting.
He's on Shark Tank. A-Rod's all over the place.
It's about to become Mr. Jennifer Lopez.
On the show today, we're going to talk about the World Series. What happened? Houston won their first World Series ever. We'll get into it.
Fuck them.
Then, Kevin Spacey is the new Harvey Weinstein. Brett Ratner might be the new Kevin Spacey. When will this end? It won't. Everybody's horrible. We'll get into it. And, pop-ups are a big thing. There are places like these pop-up stores and these pop-up bars and these pop-up restaurants, and I got an issue with all of them, which we will get into. But first, we are very excited to have with us today a returning champion, Ian Alda.
Hello there.
Hello.
It's good to be back.
It's good to have you back.
When was we last had you on? Last April 2016.
Yeah, I was actually wondering. I couldn't remember specifically when it was.
I think it was before the Silicon Valley season.
That's right. Yeah. You're correct.
Two Silicon Valley seasons ago.
Was
at this point.
At this point, yes.
Oh,
that
geez.
is correct. Yeah, and we're a final season now. So.
Oh, it's that, really?
They're shooting one more season, of which I may be a part of.
And they found out Timothy Simon's raping everyone, so they got to shut the show down.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kumail is just.
Yeah, exactly.
Is this the final? They announced it's the final season?
Yes.
Or are you announcing it here on this podcast?
Because I know Veep is saying
it's the final season. I mean, T.J. Miller left, and they said they got one more season.
What's
left
HBO gonna do? It can't just be ballers all day, all the time.
Yeah, you're losing Veep, you're losing Silicon Valley, you're losing. Well, you got Westworld, you got The Deuce.
These are not funny
Very
shows.
different genres.
These
but
are
yeah.
not Sunday night comedies. I don't want to roll into my Monday with I want to get the Deuce
That's
going.
true. But we do need another show, that's centered around
me see what
5
happens
white
with-
men, and
Not Thunder Thighs going out a window.
Okay, well,
Spoiler alert.
I was on. You have shocked me with the Silicon Valley news.
I feel terrible to have broken that to
Will
you.
is
I feel
quaking.
awful.
I've been a little out of the loop lately. I'm trying to go to all these free screenings, and it's I don't have the time.
You're busy with
How do I have the
Tanya.
time to read the Silicon Valley news? But you have a reoccurring part on Silicon Valley. That's where you are. The world was a different place when you were last on here.
Ooh, yes. It was a very different. It was very different. It was only.
Barbara Boxer was one of our senators.
I know.
Yeah.
Now we have Kamala Harris. Which is
It's a
great.
different world.
So far,
It's
so
a different
good.
world. So you may be part of the last season of Silicon Valley.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, at this point, I'm not gonna say.
can neither
for sure.
confirm nor deny.
Neither confirm nor deny.
How is it working on this? I mean, because it just seems like working with being in scenes with those guys who have all these scenes together. They must all at this point have such a shorthand between themselves and their own little.
It's terrifying and also wonderful at the same time. But I mean, they're brilliant comedic minds, and they're also extremely comfortable with each other, like symbiotically family. And so for you to kind of come in and be like, hey, I'm going to play with you guys, right? It's weird. It's hard. They're very welcoming, but rhythmically it can be difficult because it's intimidating.
Remind me, is that show fully scripted or is there an improv element to it?
It is fully scripted, but they are all very talented improvisers.
Okay.
So a lot of times they will add in their own improvisations. Many of them, 90% of them, never make the cut.
Okay.
But a good, 10% brilliant moments happen.
So they'll do let's go on the script and then let's do a take that's just fucking around?
Yeah, they almost always stick to the script, and then what they generally do for improvisation is they'll tack something on at the end of a scene that might be improv'd. Or sometimes they will improv in the middle, but they'll say, this take, let's do scripted, this take, let's do. Yeah.
So, since it has been a while since you've been on, why don't you give everybody a little refresher again of where you're from and your origin story?
Yeah, my origin story is that I'm from Southern California. I'm from the Palos Verdes Peninsula, which is a community about 30 minutes south of LAX along the coast.
Beautiful place that means nothing to anyone not from Los Angeles.
Yeah, and
Have you been to Palos Verdes before?
No,
It doesn't even mean a lot to It doesn't even mean a lot to LA people.
You're
half the time.
where did this come from? It's like this beautiful little community that's out of nowhere.
It's gorgeous, but very it's isolated. It takes like a good 45 minutes to get to the nearest freeway. It's a little out of the way, but it's gorgeous. And I had a very nice upbringing there. But then I got into my theater department in high school, and then decided to go to New York to study out there. So I went to a theater conservatory in Westchester County called SUNY Purchase.
And then SUNY Purchase.
Yeah, SUNY Purchase. It's a really it's hardcore. I mean, it's boot camp, theater boot camp. And then we went down after graduation. I lived in Brooklyn for a couple of years and worked there.
Did that Broad City life.
Did the Broad City life before it was Broad City. But I see Broad City and I'm like, yeah, that is what living in New York.
I went to that Gowanus, Bed Bath & Beyond.
There was an episode of Broad City that all took place on St. Mark's Place.
Yeah.
And watching that, I was so nostalgic for when I lived in Manhattan.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was like, oh my God, that's what I used to hang out at St. Mark's. And it is, I actually think Broad City captures New York better than any of these shows, even though it does it in a surreal kind of way. But
Sure.
but I think that's what helps capture.
Yeah, but it almost makes you feel like I think I might have done something like that.
Or
when I was in New York, even though
I
you
could
didn't.
cut it.
But
I'm
feels
pretty
that
sure
way.
last week's episode may have broken my parents, and they're no longer fans of the show. Where Alana can't have an orgasm because of Trump. Yeah, I think that episode may have broken them.
Well, it was bound to happen.
Yeah.
I did hear though that they're bleeping out his name.
Yeah,
throughout
they
the
bleep
season,
his
which I
name.
think is brilliant.
Whenever they say his name. It's
Yeah.
good.
But yeah, it certainly portrays New York a little more realistically than, say, Sex in the City or,
Friends.
Friends.
You all get that
That's
apart.
the New York I remember.
Yes.
That's the New York guy. We all lived in a giant apartment with 3 walls.
Where was your Central Perk?
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Okay.
So I've since moved back to Los Angeles, and I've been here ever since. Yeah.
We were just talking about Silicon Valley, but let's talk about some stuff. There's some other stuff you've been doing because you're doing a play now.
I'm currently involved in a show that it's a production called This Land, and it's taking place in Boyle Heights at Legacy LA. It's with a company called Company of Angels. I started working on this play about 4 years ago as a workshop with the Mark Taper Forum Center Theater Group.
Yeah.
They commissioned the play. I worked on a workshop with the playwright, and then we disbanded. And then a year later, we did it again, and we did a public reading of it in the city of Watts, or the district of Watts. It's the city of Los Angeles. And then we disbanded again, and then Company of Angels is now the company that decided to produce it and get it on its feet. And it's an interesting play. I play many different characters. It covers like 150-year history of Los Angeles, which sounds
And you are
intimidating.
always the evil white landlord in every character.
Yeah, I know. I'm the only white guy in the play, and I'm also I tend to play like throughout history, the kind of colonizer or the.
You're the Leo DiCaprio role.
Yeah. But as an actor, I can't think of myself as a villain. I can't think of the character as the villain, so I try to find the purpose behind it and the
Slavery.
justification for it. I was never a slaveholder in this play, fortunately.
Okay.
But yeah, it takes place. It starts in like the Spanish colonial era of California. The idea of the play is it all takes place on the same plot of land in what is today known as Watts.
Okay.
And it starts with a Spanish rancho called Rancho La Tejauta, and that was the area historically that is now Watts. And it's the relationship between the Tongva Native American tribe and the Spanish colonialists. And then the play then also simultaneously takes place in the 1950s when Watts had a Jewish, black, and nascent Hispanic community, and then the 1990s when it was a growing Hispanic community. It sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. But basically the scenes fold over onto each other, and you're constantly going back and forth between times, and it's just the idea of people constantly being forced to accept newcomers to their land and want to move away because of the newcomers. And
so this play also has a lot. I mean, the ideas are in the zeitgeist. Like, it's what people are talking about.
And what was interesting was when we began workshopping the play, it already felt important and topical, but we didn't even anticipate the world we live in now. And now that it's being produced, it feels even more palpable and more insane to be grappling with these issues.
Are you finding that, not to reduce it to like...
Go ahead, reduce.
Well, no, but are you finding that this is helping the box office? Is this helping, are people more interested in this play right now because of what's going on?
Are you
getting the Trump bump?
I think everyone I've spoken to at the end of the play that hasn't, and almost everyone I talk to enjoys it a lot and says they on their own bring up the topic of the world that we live in right now, and the fact that the theater is in Boyle Heights. And it's the theater company has a strong relationship and roots in that community, but Boyle Heights is an area of Los Angeles that is particularly right now resisting gentrification, and so I think a lot of the people that come to the show that are in that community, it really speaks to that community, especially just because it's we don't want more of the outside influence coming in, kind of just developing the land.
We're not your Silver Lake, your Los Feliz Bell Washingtons. Yeah, you keep your white boys and tapas bars out of here. We don't want that.
That's right. I mean, I am that white boy, and I'm coming in and I'm enjoying the restaurants that are already there. I don't need a tapas place. I'm cool with the taquerias.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm good.
I worked with someone years ago who grew up in Silver Lake. He's like, yeah, where I grew up, it was just a shitty little house. And he goes, thanks to all the white people, because my parents' house now that I grew up in, he goes, it's a little shitty house worth like $800,000.
Yeah.
Because it's one block off Sunset, right in the heart of Silver Lake. He goes, yeah, my parents' house is worth a fortune now because of all the gentrification.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. It makes it very difficult, especially for renters, because you're not even enjoying the appreciation of your property.
Well, you get in a rent-controlled place like this and you never leave.
That's correct.
It's so weird being in a neighborhood that you see that's happening or visiting.
No one gentrifying west or east North Hollywood?
No, well, but what's interesting is, like, I've done, like, storytelling shows and stuff in, like, Echo Park and something like that. And it's weird because I'm going to, like, this hipster bookstore to do this storytelling show. And there's all these, like, hipster white guys walking around and hanging out at this bar here. And then there are, like, all these Latino families and stuff who are clearly getting pushed out there. And it's like,
Don't do those shows.
What was that?
You don't do those shows.
I guess I can't.
You're contributing to the problem.
Yeah,
I am. I don't know. I didn't know where I was going, but I root for the Latino families.
Oh, okay.
I want them to push out the hipsters.
Okay.
That's me.
It's our official position.
My official position is I'm friend of the Latino family.
Good for you.
Yes, that's a long-standing Will Link position. So, how long is the show going to be playing?
So the show's running. It's only a month run. We're running until the weekend just before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So yeah, about 3 more weekends left. And,
So get your ass out there is what he's saying.
yeah.
how do
Come
you-
learn about the problem of gentrification, and it you know, it's not. It treats gentrification realistically. It's in some ways migration and change are inevitable.
Yeah.
But it's about doing it consciously and with respect to the community that's already living there, I think is the point.
How do the people get tickets to this? Or?
You can check out companyofangels.org, which is the theater company's website, and you go from there. I'm assuming you have a computer and internet connection.
What?
So I unfortunately do not have a telephone
So I'll
number.
go to the library. I'll get my local AOL phone number so I can dial in.
That's right. What was the AOL keyword? Remember those? The AOL used to do keyword, and you would like type in your keyword.
That's right. So you can go to like their site, quote
yeah,
unquote.
because it was their walled garden.
I still have an AOL email address.
That's a whole separate
Works
issue.
perfectly fine.
It's great. It's in a way, it's kind of
fine.
like a 212 number. It's
Yeah.
like it's like the OG.
Exactly.
When the aliens come, they'll know who to
I
call
know.
first.
Doesn't Debbie June also have a?
She's an AOL. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're, I hate to
Kevin
out
Smith
people
and-
publicly as having AOL.
Yeah, I
But you know
remember-
what? Some of the most respected people in the business have an AOL.
Don't
email
AOL
address.
shame her.
Yeah,
That's right.
Will Link, Debbie June, two of the most respected people.
Well, Kevin
That's
Smith
right.
and Ralph Garman both rock AOL email addresses. So.
See, look at that. Now you also, I hear, did a web series.
I did. I'm on the other side of things with that. I'm directing a web series right now.
Is this your first time directing?
This is my first time directing at this scale. I've done a lot of short web videos, comedy related for Funny or Die and stuff like that. This is my first where I'm actually doing a number of episodes as a director and working. I'm actually co-directing most of the episodes with a good friend of mine who just graduated from AFI, and it's a comedy web series that about two married men, two gay men named Michael. It's about a real life two men named Michael, and the web series is called Michaels. So we're still in development. We've only shot, and now we're in post-production for the first episode, but we've got about 6 8-minute episodes written, and
Nice.
we're going to be shooting them over the course of the next probably 6 months or something like that.
What is some of
Yeah, are these scripted, or are you just kind of putting a camera in their kitchen and watching how they fight?
No, it's very scripted.
what's some of the hilarity that ensues when two married men named Michael get together?
Well, the hilarity is very specific to who they are as people. I mean, these two guys are innately very odd, wonderful, strange people, and they take a lot of snapshots from their life, and a lot of times, because I happen to be friends with them, when you are around them, something ridiculous happens, and then you're like, all right, that's the premise. Let's come up with the episode.
Right.
The episode that we're working on currently is about bringing a third person home from a night out.
I know.
And how you kind of work that magic, how you bring a third man into your relationship and deal with the fact that and it's only for one night, and it's like, but the house has to be spick and span, and
so they don't think anything bad of you, even though they're just there for sex.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, exactly. It's like a total one night stand, but at the same time, it's like let's really roll out the red carpet for this person.
You don't have to tell Will about that.
I know all about. Well, why do you think you're here, Ian?
That's right. I'm the third here.
Yeah, you're the third
You have this
man.
happy marriage, and you guys brought in a
Get out.
Okay, so you're working on this now.
Correct. Yes.
When it is posted, when it is up, is there like a time you're shooting?
We don't have a specific time yet, so I will have to either on my next visit on this show, or I will let you know.
I would love to say we should get a Michael or Michaels on to talk about it.
I would always recommend two Michaels
when the show is up.
One can't just make do with one Michael.
That's right. Michaels should always come in pairs.
Okay, so we will do that. Let's keep John. When we see you around, we'll keep in touch with you.
Yeah.
When it comes up, let us know. We'll get some people. We'll get that going too, because I want to watch the show. It sounds fun.
Does this mean I got to clean my place before they come over?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean that's what they do in the episode without divulging too much. There's a lot of cleaning and freaking out, and it's good. You'll enjoy it.
I do a lot of cleaning and freaking out in my life.
When you bring someone home for a three-way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, Ian, you got a lot going on. It sounds like you got a lot of great creative things going on. The play, the web series, possibly the final season of Silicon Valley. If the people want to keep up with you and know what you're doing and when you're doing it, how can they do this?
I would always direct people to my Twitter handle at Ian Alda. I keep people appraised of my goings on Twitter, but more than anything, I also just really enjoy posting rants and jokes in 140 characters, and a lot of it is kind of politically slanted, but I also do just jokes about life as well. It just keeps me sane.
Actively engaged on social media, I can tell you.
Yeah.
But you know what? I know a lot of people. Like I know you, Sean. After the election, you dropped out for a while. Of
I
social
still
media.
have been
We did kind of all. I did that too. I mean, there was a detoxing period where
I don't tweet that much anymore. Also because I'm not that funny.
And that
If it's not about eggnog
that was
latte
the
or
biggest
Rebecca
laugh of the episode so far. Was that
I'm not
statement?
I feel like I have nothing to contribute. Unless it has to do with Rebecca Black or eggnog latte. What do I have to contribute to the?
I
discourse.
find you funny, but I find your interactions with me funny.
But you know what?
Well, I yell at you for stupid shit, but my tweets are so wry to the point where no one gets them or no one laughs. I am so dry in my tweets that also on Facebook where people just call me out why would you say this? I'm like, you do not understand humor? This is.
Well, that's the problem with a text medium like that. You really can't
can't help it if I'm just
intention behind it.
I'm just a gin martini.
You're a gin martini.
Well, I was gonna say though, I feel like a lot of people I know also though went the opposite way and doubled down on social media since the election because they find something cathartic about being able to get there. I know my friend Nick, who's an actor with some.
He's got a blue check mark. He's got a voice.
But he really he's constantly tweeting. Now he never tweeted. Now he constantly tweets. Of course, then he'll inevitably get
in trouble.
Yeah, because there'll be some Trump supporter who was a fan of the shows he was on, Revenge and stuff. And he'll be like, "Hey man, why you gotta make it political?" And he goes, "Fuck you! I don't want you as my fan."
It's a difficult line to walk.
My biggest social media triumph was when Lin-Manuel Miranda responded and retweeted me because I made a quote. I discussed the new Ron Chernow book, the biography of Ulysses S. Grant.
Hey.
So that's my life.
Okay, but that's a very important social media engagement.
Ulysses S. Grant is a great American. I could sit here and talk for an hour about Ulysses S. Grant.
I got a like from Lena Dunham once.
How'd that go?
Change your life.
Yeah, she
It's not-
replied. She goes, You are correct, sir.
It's not the same as a finger up your butt, but close enough.
I'll take that too.
On that note,
so
go on the internet, people. Follow Ian.
yeah, you love LA.
I do. I love Los Angeles.
And what do you love about? What's one of the things you love most about LA? You love your Dodgers, don't you?
I do. I was, as I already cited before, I was raised in the LA area and a long time Dodger fan.
Sean, you also born and raised here. Big Dodger fan.
Yeah.
So we're recording this the day after the Houston Astros won their first World Series. Houston Astros, in the 50-some-odd years in history, had never won a World Series.
Fuck them.
They had never won a World Series game until...
All right, yeah.
You know why? Because they're a garbage upstart team that shouldn't exist. Legacy teams only.
Yeah.
How did you feel when the Arizona Diamondbacks beat the Yankees?
That was a rough one because that was they beat them in very dramatic fashion.
And they're a garbage team that shouldn't exist.
Let me say, they're even a more garbage team that shouldn't have existed.
Arizona.
Now here's and this gets to something that I was thinking as an outsider watching this World Series game last night, the Game 7.
Yeah.
Did you have a stake in it for yourself?
I was rooting for LA, but I wasn't gonna. But I'm not a Dodger fan, so I'm not like
You couldn't even connect to the Brooklyn aspect of the Dodgers.
No, I'm a
No
Yankee
one
fan.
connects. Vince Scully's the only one that connects. Vince Scully and
Larry King.
the only ones that give a shit about the trolley Dodgers.
That's right.
I mean, I'm a Yankee fan, and I got to admit, when this whole World Series started, I had never expected the Yankees to get as far in the playoffs
If
as
the
they
Yankees
did.
had played the Dodgers, this would have destroyed the podcast.
It would have been amazing. I started to feel really left out because they got so close to getting in, and then it's like I'm in a city where everyone's excited about it. I'm like, I'm like, oh, like.
Be rough though to have LA and Yankees go.
It would have been
personally.
amazing. It would have been
your city versus your team or your old city.
No, you would have been the Yankees all the way. Like no one would have apologized.
You wouldn't be torn, but you'd have to be in a lot of places.
No, but you know what? I think people
was-
would understand because it's New York. I don't think anyone would have given you any shit.
No
if you
one
were
would
like,
giving me shit because I got a fucking chair from Yankee Stadium in my apartment.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a Yankee fan. The thing is, I was briefly like looking forward to like I'm gonna be the enemy. I'm gonna be in. I'm gonna.
That's why you will like at the end of the podcast. Go fuck yourself.
But I gotta admit, last week when we put this down, we're obviously gonna talk about the World Series. I think I even said to you, Sean, I said, Dodgers are going to win this in 5. I think I might have said that to you. Like, I did not think we would be here.
Well, we normally don't record on a Thursday. We deliberately recorded tonight because the potential for Game 7 was on the calendar, and we left that open because we both knew that both of us would be watching. So,
Yeah, and I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
But
and I messaged you about that. Like, we're not doing Wednesday because of a potential Game 7. You're like, yeah, I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
So,
It sucks.
well, let me get your thoughts as the guest and as the Dodger fan here of what went down in this World Series. I mean, I know the wound is fresh, but
well, it was. Objectively speaking, if I remove myself as a Dodger fan from the equation, just looking at it as a baseball event,
amazing.
It
game.
was like just this World Series. I mean, was one of the best World Series I think ever. It contained within it Game 5, which might have been maybe the best World Series game of all time.
Game 2,
was also an extra innings, and that was also incredible. I mean, in terms of just good baseball, it was phenomenal. And the teams were a lot more evenly matched than I expected them to be. And that was why the series was so amazing. It was like ace pitchers and still high scoring, and it was neck and neck. But then Game 7 happened.
Yeah.
And Game 7, it was almost like the Dodgers just disappeared, and the Astros did what they had continued to do the whole time. And part of that had to do, obviously, with the mistake of starting Yu Darvish, and then the mistake of leaving Yu Darvish on the mound once he was clear.
I'm actually almost surprised that he
played
only
2
gave
innings.
up like 5 runs.
I know, but I'm shocked that Dave Roberts didn't take him off sooner. I mean, for me, I would actually blame Roberts more than Darvish. I mean, Darvish is a really good pitcher normally, but he did not.
But he was
perform,
shitty on
and
game 2. Also, they pulled him too. He got
was
rattled.
Not good in the other game he pitched, and so it was already risky to start him when he could have. Dave Roberts could have used Alex
Lemaro
Wood.
pitched 6 whips.
He could have used Alex Wood, or he could have started Kershaw and relieved him early. He could have done a number of. I mean, he wound up pitching Kershaw about as many innings as he could.
A lot longer than I thought. Kershaw.
I'd as well have brought him in the first.
Kershaw was.
You can empty the tank.
Well, Kershaw was the only one I felt like had any fire, and I felt like he was like, I'm going to go give you guys some space, but like at a certain point, you got to go do your shit. Like, there's only so much he can do.
Yeah.
They're stranding like 7, 8, 9 batters on base. Like,
I mean, that to me is an even bigger issue.
Yeah.
I think in the first 5 innings, they left like 8 men on base.
We left a lot of people, so the offense were problems.
The first 2 innings,
They had a full day of late bases loaded.
4 guys hit by pitches.
Yeah.
Justin Turner
No,
got
I know. I
beamed.
looked at my friends
Justin
watching the
Turner
game.
got beamed twice in a row.
I said, can you believe the fact that there's one of the pitchers in this game has hit 4 pitchers and he's not the one losing right now? He it's crazy.
No, the Dodgers
got
lost it for themselves.
When the Dodgers
They
got the
did.
bases loaded, I think in the bottom of the first, after
Yeah.
Houston already scored, I'm like, even though they didn't score that inning, I'm like, oh, this is still going to be a wild game because they're already getting to them. They'll be able to score.
That's exactly what I said. I said, look at this. We're already getting on base in the first, second, and third innings. We're gonna score.
So I've been texting like
only
crazy
did
during
it
these
once.
games with Uri, our former inhabitant of this apartment in front of the podcast, and Uri was just like, I can't with this team. Like, so first of all, he bet a bottle of Yamazaki, expensive Japanese whiskey, with a friend of his. So he had to. It was like $150 bottle of whiskey. So he was on the hook for, but. He was texting like crazy for every single one of these games. He's like, I can't trust this team just because they're up to bat. It's like, okay, we may have a lead. Even in game 6, it's like, yeah, we're up. I can't trust this stupid team to like maintain it because their offense/defense is so terrible. It's like,
well, a lot of our common guys that we relied on, Justin Turner,
they all fell apart.
Yeah, they weren't as reliable as they had been in the other playoff games. NLDS, NLCS, they just weren't showing up in the series.
May your team never make it to the World Series.
It was rough.
It was this because last night I'd been watching this World Series obviously, and last night I was glad I didn't really have anything scheduled because I'm like, I just want to sit down and watch a really great baseball game that's going to be because of the way this series has been. And that the Dodgers were so lifeless.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't come out to play.
Yeah.
It reminded me of another series that was great up until Game 7. For me personally, where it was the Yankees-Red Sox in 2004. Great series getting up to that last game, and then the Red Sox just crushed them. And it's like... at least let's have been competitive, you know?
That's right,
At least if we're going to lose, let's lose with
in the 10th inning, just like going out.
go-ahead runner at the plate,
No, they gave that game up first inning. It was just sad.
If the game if the Game 7 had gone down like Game 5 and it was extra innings and it was neck and neck as it had been the whole series, it would have been painful to lose, but at least we went down trying. But this just felt like, we're not even. It ended already.
What do you think is worse, though? Because seeing it coming, you had the whole game.
I know. I mean,
it's those close games are only good when because another Yankee thing for me. I remember you brought up the Diamondbacks when they lost that game, and they lost that game in shocking fashion. That Game 7, I was just sat on the couch like stunned for like a good hour before I moved. Whereas when they
was your 9/11,
I knew. Oh my God, they're going to lose this game. Did you said, Sean, you were watching?
I was at the bar.
It was had to leave the bar.
It was so packed. Thankfully, I was upstairs and I had a seat. But downstairs was just a sea of assholes with Dodger hats. And I'm like, I can't. And I walked home. It's about a mile from here. I walked home. So I had Ubered there thinking like, it's going to be great. I'm going to drink and we're going to watch Game 7. And about like inning 5, I only had a couple beers. I'm just like, I'm going home. And I walked home. And I came home and I turned on my TV and I was like, and I was just sad on my couch by myself with my boxers, my Dodgers hat on. Like,
I knew.
Sounds like the right way to watch that game.
I knew you were in bad shape when around the 8th inning I got a podcast-related text from you, and I'm like, he's given up. And I was with someone, and I got the text, and I'm like, oh, it's my friend Sean. He's given up. And I was like, should I write something encouraging? Yeah. And like, I was like, will that just be because
you knew,
but I also didn't want to. I'm like, am I more of an asshole to be encouraging, or am I an asshole if I'm not? And I tried to be a little encouraging.
No, you were fine. I'm just like, like, what are you doing?
I mean, look,
we all know where this is going.
It's painful to lose no matter what, but to lose where it just felt like we didn't show up after a series like that it's Dodger blue balls.
At least we have an historic Lakers team to rally.
That's right.
Now, let me say one more thing about this then. And this is about Dodger fans.
Yeah.
Good friend of mine, JT, tweeted during this game. He's back on Long Island. He's a Red Sox fan, though. I don't know how that happened. But he's a baseball fan in general.
Okay.
And he tweeted, maybe the Dodgers offense is taking after their fan base and not showing up until the 5th inning. Now,
that's really interesting. I like that.
Now, are these things about the Dodger fans? Because I got to admit, like, the Dodgers have been competitive for as long as
I've been here. We went to the NLCS like 3 years in a row. Yeah.
As long as I've been out here, I remember them being competitive. This was the first year, though, I felt it in the city. Mm-hmm. Like, this is the first year that I felt like walking around the city or driving around the city, I felt the same buzz I used to feel about the Yankees when I lived in Manhattan walking around during the late 90s.
Right.
Is there, though, something about, and I'm not saying you, but is there something fair weather about the Dodger fan that they do show up late and they leave early? I mean,
explain Latinos.
Are these fair assessments of the Dodger fan?
I mean, they're broad generalizations. I mean, look, when I used to go to Dodger games as a kid, I never until I was an adult saw the national anthem sung at Dodger Stadium because we never got there that early.
Well, also, the Dodger Stadium is like really inconveniently located.
That's what I was going to say, though, is that it's more about the traffic.
No, it's traffic. It's hard to get in and out.
It's so hard to get into that stadium because of the bumper-to-bumper traffic. And at the time I used to go as a kid,
You're like up the 110.
We didn't have like Uber and Lyft where I could like lift my way to like the gate and walk in. Like, you had to get in there, you had to park.
Oh, look,
it's a lot.
I have been to at least a dozen or more Dodger games.
Yeah.
I've been to many concerts at Dodger Stadium. I have never...
But you get there neurotically early.
I get there as someone who's gonna see the game.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to shit on them, but I'm just saying.
No, but Dodger Stadium does not have a lot of...
that.
But they don't have a lot of... There's not a lot of roads in and out. It's tough. There's no public transportation to get there. If you fuck up on getting there, you're screwed. Like, you know, if you're even 15 minutes running behind, you will get stuck until the 4th inning.
But I will say they have a great attendance record. I mean, overall, Dodger Stadium, even if people are getting there a little late,
compared to
leaving a little early,
compared to most cities where the baseball stadium is like literally in the middle of the city, where it's just like, oh, I'm going to go to work in my office building and then come downstairs and walk 3 blocks and go see a baseball game. Dodger Stadium is not that.
It's not a stadium to walk.
It's like St. Louis or like Boston, like even San Francisco. The stadium's like right in the city.
I can get it's weird for me, and I guess my weird mentality is even though like Yankee Stadium was just there in the South Bronx, I can get to Dodger Stadium from my place faster than I could have ever gotten.
Well, Yankee Stadium. You were in Long Island. Yankee Stadium is the middle of nowhere. Like,
but I mean, even when I was in Manhattan, the train ride was a pain in the. I mean, taking the train.
It takes 2 hours.
Yeah. The point is.
Fuck the Dodgers.
No, I'm not. I was.
So here's the question: do they fire Dave Roberts? Do they stick with the team? Like,
I think Dave Roberts is brilliant. He got the team to a really good place this year. I think he's really good. I'm still waiting. I Googled this morning, like, why did he do that? I still can't figure it out fully.
I feel bad for into the Game 7 of the World Series.
No, he's really brilliant.
I feel bad for Clayton Kershaw. Like, that man, he needs one World Series title. Like, his legacy.
I know.
He's first ballot Hall of Fame, but until he wins a World Series,
deserves it,
like, he needs it to seal his legacy. Because you know what's going to suck? When they trade him to, like, the Blue Jays and then they fucking win the World Series. Is the Blue Jays still a team?
Yeah, that's still
they're a team.
Okay, just checking.
Yes, they're a team.
I'm like, wait, did they fold? As soon as I said, I was like, wait, Toronto's still a team?
No.
Instead, now you got Verlander winning a
fucking
World
Mr.
Series.
Kate Upton.
Yeah, and marrying Kate Upton. He's having a good week.
So the second they won that last pitch, I had my TV and I turned it off. I couldn't watch the celebration.
But I'm glad you stuck with it to the end. You got to support
I did with
the
the
team
second,
to the end.
the last out went out on the 9th inning. I turned it off. I couldn't watch any of them fucking...
Yeah.
We got to get off the baseball talk, but one last thing I will say about...
Kate Upton, that's a woman.
Yeah, but when I dealt with that Yankee Red Sox loss, that more than even this, you saw the writing on the wall, because that was a blowout.
Yeah.
But I remember, like, I can't abandon the team, but I said, but I can't watch the Red Sox celebrate on the field. And what I did was around the bottom of the 7th, when I knew it wasn't going to turn around, I got in my car and I drove around Long Island listening to the game.
Well, that wasn't the World Series. That was the division championship.
Yeah. But I mean, beating the Red Sox was more important than winning the World Series at that point.
That was a trauma, by the way, what happened to you guys.
All right, moving on.
Worse than 9/11.
It was worse than 9/11. Speaking of things that are worse than 9/11, Kevin Spacey.
Touching boys. Touching men.
Yeah.
So my notes are even outdated because my notes are like, is this a pattern of behavior or is this just something that he did? To
like a one-off diddling. Yeah.
Was this a one-off weird thing when he was young? And then of course, in the hours since putting this in there, we're hearing about people from House of Cards. Like all the dominoes are falling.
But you really, I mean, child molestation can't be a one-off. It's
you don't casually molest a child. You're in or you're out.
Right, and also even if it was that, which it isn't, as we're seeing, but even if it was just that one incident, it's kind of like, that one's tough.
It's bad enough.
Yeah,
and honestly, before all the rest of this happened, my biggest takeaway from this was going to be like how he came out.
Right,
like in that memo, he's like, yeah, I touch children, but I'm gay, so, you know.
I will live my life as a gay man. What?
No, that added insult to injury because it was like using coming out as a smoke bomb disappearing act. It was like
famously closeted gay man, probably.
I mean, outside of Channing Tatum. What?
And I was talking to a publicist friend of mine before all the rest of it came out, and I said, what do you do? What are you doing? Because I was also asking her, like, are you worried that you're going to find out you represent, like, somebody in a... And she said she knows she doesn't, although she does represent people who might be on the other side of... Not him, but of Weinsteins and stuff like that, who don't want to get into things. But...
Wait, she represents people who have been molested or have been abused in some way?
Yes.
Okay.
But she was saying, look, you know what? If I'm his publicist, like, first of all, I never would have ever let him release such a statement. She's like, I doubt any publicist.
Shocking.
But she goes...
And that shit was pre-planned.
She said... And she's also someone who 2 weeks earlier told me, Kevin Spacey is going to win an Oscar for the new Ridley Scott film. She's like, he's so brilliant that it's his best role in years.
Yeah.
And then, that's not going to happen. But... She was like, well, if this is the only thing that comes out, he can weather this. He can, he just kind of have to lay low. Then, like 8 months from now, doing your first interview with, like, Glad, like, do things like that. Like, but
she got the publicist playbook.
Yeah, but now, it's like, but she always said in the stipulation, as long as no one else comes forward. Now, the floodgates on Kevin Spacey. Floodgates also on Brett Ratner, to the shock of no one.
Yeah, nobody.
Yeah, that's... Yeah.
I still don't understand how people were like, he has a $450 million deal at Warner Brothers.
That was the most shocking thing.
Well, Hercules was a big movie.
Yeah, but that's one of those where you felt like it was already out there.
He did a Hercules movie with The Rock. Everyone knew Brett Ratner was like garbage. You know?
I thought everyone knew James Toback was garbage, too.
Well, I'm shocked that the Bryan Singer stuff hasn't become bigger yet. I think that's the next one that's going to come out. Those X-Men movies are all tainted.
Ugh.
Well, let me ask you this. As something is also
days.
like an artist.
Do you touch children?
I know that I can watch The Usual Suspects tonight.
Right.
And still be like, Kevin Spacey's fucking great in this movie. I love this movie. I love this
And
role.
Bryan Singer doesn't diddle children.
Are you good at doing that?
Separating art from the artist, and it's a really hard balance. I mean, that's something that I think it specifically applies to the specific situation with each person and their scandal. And I maybe in some cases I might be okay watching the piece, but I don't want to financially give. Right. I don't want to.
I know a lot
buy
of people
a movie.
Take that stance.
It's why you movie hop into a Mel Gibson film.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like I'm okay with enjoying their art, but I don't want to pay for it because now I know. Now I'm not saying that's the case with Spacey. I haven't made up my mind yet on how I'm going to boycott it.
It's a good thing that you already own Paid Forward on DVD.
That's right. Exactly.
And K-Pax.
I'm going to see that Ridley Scott film that Kevin Spacey's in. I'll tell you right now. I'm going to see it because it looks like a good movie. Yeah. And, Ridley Scott didn't do anything.
What that we know of. Why do you think Tony killed himself?
It's tough. I mean, with Woody Allen, I have to walk a line sometimes. And
let's not get down this.
I don't mind going down the Woody Allen. But, it's funny. I was at breakfast a couple weeks ago with a table full of people.
Ronan Farrow.
And most of them were also women, I would like to point out, because I actually think that's important to this.
Okay,
good. Okay, yeah, I get why. I think I can see where this is going.
Build the smoke screen.
All of them.
Yeah.
Pro Woody Allen.
Yeah.
Even Tanya?
Tanya wasn't at this breakfast.
Just checking.
All of them are Woody Allen. And we all bring up the one point with the Woody Allen thing that I think... I don't think you can compare Woody Allen to some of these other things. And maybe I'm being Pollyannish because he is literally like my favorite writer.
He's one of my favorite writers and filmmakers.
But here's the thing where it's different. One, all these other things, there is a pattern. We brought up the pattern. We brought up you don't diddle a child once.
Oh, okay.
That was said. I think we found
the episode name
5 minutes ago.
You're quoting this podcast.
Yeah, I'm quoting this podcast and not myself.
Yeah.
Also, I don't understand why. I believe Dylan believes what happened to her, and she is a victim in some sense. But I don't know why we are all discounting other children who have claimed abuse from Mia. Right. Like Moses has said that she mentally abused them all, and this is someone who, as an adult, he is a therapist. Is like this isn't like some and that's the only thing that I think there is so much gray area in the Woody Allen thing that we will never know for sure. That can never be proved. Unlike Cosby. Polanski,
right? Those
Weinstein.
Are hard evidences.
I agree. And it does bother me. And look, for all I know, Woody Allen is guilty, but it does bother me that, for being a Woody Allen fan, when I bring up actual facts and pragmatic things about his situation and how it differs from the others, I'm met with I'm a monster because I want to.
Except
go see
for all
Wonder
these
Wheel.
mysterious women you dine with who seem to have no problem with him.
No, I agree with you. I watch Woody Allen and I would patronize Woody Allen.
You're a big Cassandra's Dream fan.
I'm always when I see him now, I'm just I wonder, but I'm not. I'm not.
It's okay. He'll be dead soon.
With Kevin Spacey, I'm just okay. I'm gonna see how much
you look at Kevin Spacey you like teenage boys. This is not.
Yeah.
This is not questionable.
It's tough though. I mean, it's you are unwittingly supporting any number of sexual predators by going to see any movie.
Yeah.
So it's just you don't. It's impossible to know. Right now we're in a place, thankfully, where it's coming out, but it's only the famous people. There's a bunch of unknown people that are doing it as well, and hopefully
good times.
We get out of this phase. And
everything you love is tainted.
That's right.
Dustin Hoffman. They were talking about.
For you, Brad, I got 5.
He apparently harassed a 17-year-old girl on the set of Death of a Salesman in the 80s.
I don't even know what to do with this information.
Yeah, I'm processing that because I only saw the headline of that and I heard that there was something about it that was.
Well, that's
the person that he sexually harassed was even saying that she has a good relationship,
and also and I know this is slippery slope
how
territory,
much is
but
becoming clickbait headlines?
When 31-year-old Dustin Hoffman did something inappropriate on the set of The Graduate when he was becoming famous and he was a no one, compared to like an entire career. Like, yeah, if Dustin Hoffman was raping people on I Heart Huckabees, that's a question. But like,
Well, here's the thing. For
but
me,
it's like also like, did he do something inappropriate on one set when? I don't even know where to start with this. It's like,
well, for me, I don't want to see
like pattern behavior.
I think it's very important for anybody that was a victim that feels the need to come forward. I think it's very important for them to come forward, and I support that.
Yes.
What I don't like, and I don't know that this is happening for sure, but I'm imagining it is that journalists are taking advantage of the climate right now and maybe pressuring different people, trying to find ways to get a story somewhere.
Is it that the people are being pressured, or that the people are empowered?
Right, exactly.
And you know who empowered this more than anyone?
Donald Trump.
Yes.
Oh.
No, it's very true. He kind of made sexual assault a kitchen table discussion.
And I think it got people to be like, ooh, this guy's the fucking president. All these motherfuckers should go down. And people felt empowered to come out more about Harvey Weinstein, Brett Ratner, James Toback. And
all of these people are facing consequences except the president, I might add.
Yeah.
Ian, what happened to you on the set of The Michaels? You could talk about it.
No, they treated me very well on that.
They didn't
set.
clean the apartment before you came over?
No,
and look, the other thing is that these are powerful people coming out too about all this stuff. These are movie stuff.
And James Toback.
James Toback, Jesus Christ!
What was the last movie he directed?
He had something that played at Venice this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah. Well, he did.
I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't. I'm not.
What, was it like an episode of CSI? What was
Venice
it?
Beach or Venice?
No,
Italy?
Venice Film. I'm not. I've never.
James Toback was like. It's always weird.
I've
that,
never
like,
been a huge James Toback fan.
It's interesting that he's never really had a career with a capital C. It's like something was holding him back, and this does not shock me. It's like, oh, you're a weirdo creep, and no one wants to work with you. That's why you've directed, a movie every 8 years. I feel like if you have any kind of success, people want to like chase you and work with you, and the fact that you're a garbage person explains why nothing ever happened in your career. So
Garbage person.
And here's the thing, and now this is getting into I don't know what territory, but as a man,
do it. Yeah.
No.
Dig in.
No. I'm sure that I have
Diddle the teenage boy.
unwillingly or unknowingly made a woman feel uncomfortable about something. I mean, I'm sure we all have. It's just like, it happens in the world.
I've been thinking about it a lot. I can't, it's like, it happens without you knowing it even.
And it doesn't even, and I mean, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going here.
No, that's like, did I do anything, or could anyone come and accuse you of some sort of impropriety?
Yeah, I don't think so. But I mean, I know I've probably made somebody uncomfortable.
You're the victim here, Will. You're the victim.
No. That's not what I'm not trying to turn that into this. But I'm saying it's
a confessional now.
No, but it's an interesting self-reflective moment that we all have to take. And none of us here, I assume, have done anything as bad as these people.
So what you're saying is bitches be crazy.
No!
William Link, the real Will Link at AOL.com. Email him.
It's a minefield of a topic for three men to discuss, really.
It is.
I mean,
you know what's funny?
Three straight white men. Yeah, like 2 weeks ago.
We had a woman on last week, but it was like right in between the Weinstein stuff and the Kevin Spacey stuff, so it wasn't a topic.
But the week before that,
the week before, it was another straight white man.
Yeah.
Listen, man, don't be shitty.
So, speaking of things I find shitty, I had heard through the grapevine, because that's the only way you hear about this shit. I had heard through the grapevine the Double R, the diner from Twin Peaks, was coming to LA for a limited time only. But it was only open for 1 week between the hours of noon and 8 p.m. The inconvenient for the working man hours of noon and 8 p.m. First of all, that's my number one problem here. This is a pop-up place. It's popping up. And you have it only in the middle of the day for this cool little thing. You're all about like, oh, I've made this cool little thing. It's a Double R from Twin Peaks. What's the point? What's the point? of going to this. It is going to be, you know what this is going to be. It's going to be subpar coffee and cherry pie. It's not going to be a damn fine cup of coffee. It's going to be subpar coffee that they cooked in the back of what this place used to be, which is a fucking Johnny Rockets. All these pop-up places are coming up all over town, and it's driving me a little nuts because they want to be just these cool little trendy, like, oh, remember this movie you love? Well, guess what? We've got McDowell's from Coming to America. No, it's just a fucking sandwich shop. It's just a Fat Sal's that you put a fucking McDowell arcs on. And then you got, the pop-up experience of the cafe from Saved by the Bell. No, unless you're gonna tear down a building and rebuild it to the exact dimensions of the cafe from Saved by the Bell, you're not really the Saved by the Bell. You're just some shitty diner in LA that figured, maybe we get some business between noon and 8. And you know what? Even if I was able to go to these places, even if these places, which are the equivalent of the pop culture equivalent of a Christmas tree parking lot or a Halloween store, even if I could go, I'm gonna wait 2 hours in line just to go into an old Johnny Rockets because some waitress is dressed like one of the waitresses from Twin Peaks and she's gonna hand me a piece of fucking pie that's probably gonna cost $20. And I gotta hang out with a bunch of nostalgia-infected hipsters. This is a bunch of fucking nonsense. And that's why you, pop-up establishments, are this week's enemy of the podcast. Go fuck yourself. Whose terrible idea is this? And why are they doing it now with Twin Peaks? The show's off the air, probably forever. Why are they doing it now? It makes no sense. Should have been up there 4 months ago, and it should be up there for like, I don't know, maybe forever, and then I'll show up at your fucking place.
So you're not going for the piece of pie and the coffee?
No, I can't now. I missed it.
You don't even like coffee?
I don't even like coffee.
And pie is a questionable subject.
I'm not big on cherry
Now, what about
pie.
something like the It House, where they recreated the house in the movie, and it's more of like an interactive...
That was a haunted. That was basically a haunted.
It was like a haunted house thing.
But I had a problem with that too, because that was up like, it's only going to be up a couple of days. It's like, no, fuck you. Put it up all through Halloween season if you're gonna do. If you're gonna, I'm just.
Well, you need time to get there.
If Will needs to ramp himself up, he needs to emotionally prepare.
You need to be able to schedule well in advance.
Do this stuff. You're gonna do it right. Like if somebody says, what's a restaurant I'd like to go to from movie history? Jackrabbit Slims from Pulp Fiction. If someone said we're making the Jackrabbit Slims, but it's only gonna be like, it's gonna be in an old Denny's for like 3 days. It's like, well, then go fuck yourself. No. Tear down that Denny's and make it like it is in the movie. And guess what? I bet you get a lot of people going all the fucking time. Like, if they made an actual double R diner, like the Diner Twin Peaks, that place would be successful.
But what if Kevin Spacey is their diddling children?
Well, then, you gotta go to a new establishment.
Unless that's part of the...
Yes, don't go to that
part of the experience. I
There's
mean,
a pop-up experience.
It's a
Kevin Spacey pop-up.
It's like in Mulholland Drive, he's behind the dumpster. Don't go behind the dumpster.
Do you buy into these things? Like, would you be like, I'll go to Fat Sal's and get a McDowell's hamburger because for today it's McDowell's?
I can't muster the emotion and loathing that you
mustard is
have
extra.
I never go to those things because I read about them or I see them and it just seems like a little trendy hassle.
What about something like where they recreate the Seinfeld apartment where it's like there's nothing to buy, nothing to eat.
It's on display.
You just
That's
go.
That's more like a museum, though.
Right.
That's different. That's
but
like
it's not the actual Seinfeld apartment. Like we took this fucking space where Brad moved out of, and now this is like we're set dressing it to look like the Seinfeld apartment. It could be. I could do the Seinfeld apartment here.
Real apartment.
Yeah.
Right.
No, but that's true. Like for instance, I went to the actual diner in outside of Seattle where they actually shot the pilot episode of Twin Peaks.
Yeah. That's more interesting.
And I was like, oh, cool, and it's still in existence.
Well, it's like going to Cheers in Boston.
I mean, if you can seek out real film locations, it's great. But if it's like a pop-up experience, then to me, it's like it feels like a tourist trap. It feels like a temporary tourist trap.
I would much rather go to the real diner that they shot in Twin Peaks.
Yeah,
I think it's more legit to go like the Central Perk at the Warner Brothers lot in the soundstage, where they filmed Friends.
Well, right, because then there's a connection to the...
Or it's like, this is the actual sound stage where they actually have this thing.
If it's the real stuff, though.
Yeah.
If it's this is the real set from
If it's a
Seinfeld,
traveling exhibit,
then
maybe.
then I look at it the same way you go see like the puffy shirt in the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
No,
I've seen Fonzie's leather jacket in the
I
Smithsonian.
feel like a sucker if I go to the pop-up experience where it's not even the real thing, because then I just feel like I'm just sort of it feels like a branding exercise that's happening, and I'm just being suckered into participating.
Now look, if I had found myself on Melrose at 3:00 on a Tuesday afternoon in the week that Double R was up and there was like no line to get in, I might have popped in.
Popped into a pop-up.
Yeah.
But you're not making a special trip for it.
No. Okay. And I had gotten a text from a friend who's like, hey, are you going to go? You love Twin Peaks. You going to go to this thing? And I'm like, no. And they seemed very confused why I wouldn't. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with it.
Well, yeah, I think you can be a diehard fan and still not do something like that, because it really has no relationship to the show.
That being said, if they build the Deadwood City, I'm there.
Okay, so now we see.
Okay, but
you guys stand on very
Or I
opposite
go to
ends.
Baltimore because of The Wire.
There
Baltimore is a big The Wire pop-up.
I've wanted to spend more time. I wanted to spend more time in Baltimore just for being a big John Waters fan.
There you go.
But I've only been to Baltimore once, and I saw an Orioles game, and then I left.
Camden Yards.
Nice
Yards,
park.
great park.
Yeah.
I hear great things about it.
It's no Dodger Stadium.
And guess what? I came from New York, and I got that time. I didn't miss a pitch. So that's all I'm saying. I came all the way from New York. That would normally have been a great note to end the podcast on.
Now we got a weird note.
We got one more topic. We always like to end with weird news.
Yeah.
Unless we can end with fast food news. And this has to do with social media.
That's amazing news.
KFC. Do you know KFC's Twitter account? KFC's done this amazing rebrand thing. It makes me wish I enjoyed their chicken.
Yeah.
But their chicken gives me indigestion, so I don't eat it.
Yeah.
We're not sure that it's real.
Because Taco Bell just goes down like baby's
Taco Bell
milk.
is good. We'll get to that.
I hear you.
But KFC's account, their Twitter account, do you know who they follow?
I don't.
They follow 11 people only.
Wow.
The 5 Spice Girls and 6 guys named Herb because of the 11 herbs and spices.
That is so brilliant.
Yeah.
That's really brilliant.
Yeah.
That's really good.
That's great.
And it goes right in tandem with the commercials that I love, which is just like a different actor playing the Colonel.
6 guys named Herb. They
That's
found
so good.
6 just dudes named Herb.
I didn't know.
followed.
I didn't know that, but I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Whoever thought of that.
And because I am a Taco Bell fan, we went to see who they follow on Twitter, and it's too many fucking people. And like one of them, Spencer Pratt, and some dude named Lil Fag. Like what? Like
and Chrissy Teigen, who's a good follow.
Teigen. Yeah, she's a good follow, but at the same time, Taco Bell, you really disappoint me because they're my number one fast food. But I only eat regularly or semi-regularly at 2 fast food places, and it's In-N-Out Burger and Taco Bell.
Yeah.
And now they got that crispy chicken quesadilla. I want to go try that.
Don't they have it's a thing where it's like a chicken...
It's like chicken nuggets in the quesadilla.
Wait,
So
but don't they have a new
crispier.
thing where like the actual tortilla is like a quesadilla?
Oh, they've had that for a long time.
I don't know. I saw
quesarito.
something on the television which was just like, what is going on at Taco Bell?
That's a quesarito. They've had that for years.
Meanwhile,
It's a staple
Taco
of my
Bell,
diet.
KFC, 11 herbs and spices.
Well, that's the thing, is I think they don't need to impress. Taco Bell doesn't have to impress you with their ad campaign
true.
because they have your loyalty.
But KFC has both impressed me with their ad campaign, but I'm still not going in there because it gives me indigestion.
For your birthday, we're going to order it.
Do you like KFC?
I don't really eat fast food.
I'll eat Popeyes, I guess.
I'm a skinny man. I don't have time for this crap.
I'm eating too much.
You know
crap.
me. I eat like a prisoner.
Yeah, I've seen you eat. I've literally seen you eat like bread and water for dinner.
Yeah, well, I got to live that Les Mis life.
I am eating way too much.
Yeah.
I'm getting fat.
No one will love you. You won't be able to date anyone.
you look fine from where
going-
I'm
No,
sitting right now. You look
fat
great.
shame him. No, you're a
And I
fatty,
was like,
fat.
after my London trip, I started trying to eat a little less, but then I had this big wedding weekend I went in, and then I've been going out on these dates.
Here's
and
what
then
the
eating out with this girl. I ate a whole bunch of Thai food late last night.
Here's the trick. You go to Trader Joe's, you buy a bunch of those salads, and you just eat those for lunch every day.
I eat very light lunches at work. That's the only thing that's yeah, I do. I don't eat out. I don't.
No
go out
boar's
for
head
lunch.
sandwiches.
Oh, boar's head. That's quality.
But
meat.
I don't eat like meat, and I don't like really eat bread. So
I eat a lot of bread. I eat a lot of pasta.
no, I don't eat any. Like I eat very few carbs.
But you know what's funny? This girl, I was saying
beer is
this,
like the only carb I eat.
I was saying this to the girl that I've gone on a few dates.
She prefers to be called a woman.
This woman I've gone on a few.
The lady.
My special lady friend. And I was like, oh, I'm eating too much. And she goes, you look great. You look like you're in great shape. And in a very Larry David-esque moment, I'm like, what are you, nuts?
That's great.
So, but I like that she thought that. So, there
Good.
you
Well,
go.
until you get winded after 2 thrusts of sex. And on that note, Ian, thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's been a pleasure, gentlemen.
Tell the people one more time where they can find you.
I am at Ian Alda on Twitter.
And again, for the show.
Yes, This Land, and it's at Legacy LA, and you can go on the website companyofangels.org.
Perfect.
Sean.
At the Sean David on all forms of social media. Find me there.
You can follow me on Twitter at The Real Will Link.
I don't think we have a guest for next week.
No, but 2 weeks from now, we're having Alyssa Sabo on.
Very excited. She's
Very excited. She's a lot of fun. She just did a one-woman show at the Comedy Central stage, which was very funny.
She is she's a living cartoon character, and she is amazing.
She her show, which I went to go see, it was called Coma Land,
Yeah.
and it was all about when she was in a coma and all like the people she met in her head when she was in the coma.
Wait, she had a liver, kidney. What did she have?
She had some form of organ failure.
And that's why she doesn't drink.
Yes.
But she's amazing. She's hilarious, and she's also a good social media follow. So Alyssa Sabo.
Yes. So she will be on the next episode that we have.
All right.
Ian, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And for the Will Sean podcast, I'm Sean David.
I'm Will Link.
And we're finished.
We're finished.